Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing 5 3x3 walkthrough solves, so let's just get straight into it. So for this scramble, I see a few nice options on white cross, including one that looks like I can track my first pair pretty easily, which I think is going to be the orange and blue pair. So a lot of these cross pieces are on their opposite colors. In fact, every cross piece is either on their correct color or on their opposite colors. So I see that my first pair is, the pieces are right here as of right now, and that won't change a ton by the end of the cross. In fact, the only thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to do an R2 on this edge. So what I'm going to do for my cross is I'm going to do an F prime R2 to align the blue and red on their opposites with the orange, and then I'm going to do a D2 F prime to put the green on its correct piece and to orient the rest of the pieces. So this piece won't move, and this will be on its correct face and will only be an R2 away from its original position. So as you can see, these pieces are right here, and as I'm doing this, I'm already looking at my next pair, which will be green and orange, which will be a similar case. And I saw this piece earlier, now I see its edge. So as I insert that, I can go straight into green and red. And then a U, and then finally I have this pair. And earlier I also noticed that because these don't get broken up at all when I'm doing the green and red pair. So finally insert those, and OLL, and PLL. Okay, so for this scramble, I don't see many good options, but I see a decent option on yellow cross that can get me an okay first pair that is fairly easy to track. So I'm going to go with yellow cross for this solve. So my 4 cross pieces are here, 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 and here. And first I'm going to put red, blue, and green on their opposites. Right now, red is 1 piece away from being on its opposite. So I'm going to have to put that on the bottom layer to move it over to the orange piece, but then green and blue are both on their opposites. So before I execute the moves for my cross, I should mention that my first pair is going to be green and orange with the edge here right now. When I finish the cross, the edge will be in its correct slot because all that's going to happen to it is an F2 R2 from this position, which will correctly put it in that slot. And then the corner piece will be over here, but I'll be able to do a pretty easy insert in the back. So now to start doing my cross, if you remember I said I was going to put this on the orange piece first. So from this angle I'm going to do a back prime, down prime. Then to put both blue and green on their opposites, I can do an F2 back 2 like that. And then these are on their opposites, and orange is on its correct color, so I can finish it off with a D2 R2. So now these pieces are set up like I thought they would be, so I can solve them in the back. And as I was inserting that, I saw these 2 pieces, so I could break straight into it like that to set them up for a 3-move insert. And now this is a little bit annoying because I do have diagonal pairs, which I don't like to have. It makes things a little bit more difficult to look ahead with, but I'm not going to stop solving this pair just for that, so I will have to deal with it. Luckily, as I was solving this pair, I did notice that the green and red pieces would be set up for a fairly easy insert in the back, because they will both have green on the top, and that won't mess too much with this piece. It'll just bring it straight out into the top layer, so that makes it fairly easy to one-look this last case. So I'm watching this piece as I insert green and red. Then I knew that the corner was here, the edge is here, so I'm going to rotate and insert them in the back like that. Then OLL and PLL. Okay, so this has a fairly easy white cross with a nice, I can do a wide U move to get a nicely set up first pair in this case. So my first pair is going to be this green and red pair, and what caught my eye at first is that with a U2, I can set up the red and blue pieces so that with 3 moves they will be in the correct position relative to this green piece here. Additionally, once I do that, this orange piece will effectively have an R2 done to it, so it will be on its correct center. And once I do those moves, the RFR to get the red and blue pieces in correctly, these pieces are going to be back here, so that will make for a really easy first pair. So once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a U2 RFR to get these three pieces in the correct position relative to each other. Then, so that I can insert this in the back and insert this orange cross piece, I'm going to do a wide U L. Now I can do these pieces here, and I'm already keeping an eye on this pair right here, which won't change at all once I do this. Now I saw that this piece was yellow, so I know that once I do this green and orange pair, this must be the edge piece for the blue and orange pair. So now I just have these two pairs left, and they're set up in the front, which is nice. So I like to, if possible, have my first two pairs done in the back so that I can see pretty much everything without having to look around or do a bunch of U's and U primes. So then I can insert that piece like that. And then, since there are no edges oriented, doesn't really matter what I do, so I'll probably just do something like that. If you don't know that algorithm, I'll put it on the screen. It looks like this. And then we have OLL and the R3 U-Prim. Okay, so this scramble actually has quite a few nice options, but I think that I'm going to do white cross because I can see the best option for an easily preserved first pair, which will be blue and orange. And not only will it be easily preserved, but it will be inserted in the back left, which is my least favorite place to have an open slot, and it's a very finger trick friendly cross. So for this cross, I have my cross pieces here, 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 and here. And with a D prime, I can have the red, blue, and orange pieces all on their opposite centers. Now, before I just insert them like this, I don't want to break up my first pair. So I'm going to do a U prime, which will also be helpful for my cross because it'll bring this green piece on its correct center. Then I will do the FR down to R2. So going back to the beginning of that cross to show it once again, I have the red piece here. So first, to preserve this pair and to get the red on its opposite center, I'm going to do a D prime, U prime, then to insert the orange and blue, and FR, finally a down to R2 to finish off the cross, and I have my first pair preserved, which I can insert in the back left. Now, before I inserted that, I did notice when I was doing my cross that I have these pieces right here, which will also be a pair. And that's going to be helpful because then I can solve both of the pairs on the left side, which is also helpful. In general, I like to have two pairs on the same side solved, such as in the back or on the left, simply because diagonal pairs make look-ahead difficult and just aren't very fun to solve in general. So I'll insert that in the back, and then for this I'm just going to use two triggers. Then for these two, I will just do the standard algorithm, which is a sledgehammer and an insert, and that will leave these two to be a pretty simple pair as well. Finally, we have OLL, which I'll do CLL for. I don't know if it's going to skip, and it does. Okay, so this scramble isn't amazing, but I can work with it. I'm going to be doing yellow cross for this one. So I see that I have my cross pieces here, 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 and here, and they're all pretty much on their opposites or correct color. We have blue on green and green on blue, which is good, and then red is in its correct position, and orange, as you can see, is pretty close to being on its opposite. However, something that's somewhat annoying is that a lot of the corners are hard to track because this cross solution uses a lot of different move types that are going to put a lot of the yellow corners on the bottom layer, which I don't like. But one corner that won't be on the bottom layer is the yellow, orange, and green corner, which will end up right here, and its edge will be right here. So I'm going to use that for my first pair. It's possible that I'm missing an easier first pair because it's hard to track all the pieces in a short amount of time, but that's not going to be a terrible one. It'll be a fairly easy insert, and it'll be into the back left corner once again, which, as I said earlier, is something that I like to have. So I'm going to insert all of the opposite pieces first. I already have blue in, and green is one move away, but instead of going like this, I'm going to move orange over, insert these three together, then I will do a D2 F prime. So then these two are together, and I was wrong about all of the edges being in the bottom layer. This piece was actually probably a slightly better pair, but it would be in the front right, and I don't like to solve my first pair in the front right, so this turned out to be a pretty good decision. Anyway, next I'm going to insert this in the back left, like that. Alright, so next, even though this is going to give me diagonal pairs, since I saw the blue and red pair next while I was doing the other one, I am going to do that one before I look for any other pairs, and this actually turns out quite nicely because the other pair is really easy to see. It's right here, and I can actually cancel into that solution. And finally, I have these two pieces right here, so I will just pair them up like that and rotate and insert. Then I have OLL and PLL. Okay, so that's it for these 5 3x3 walkthrough solves. I hope you all enjoyed and were able to learn something from them. Of course, if you notice something that I could have done better myself, please leave that in the comments below, because I always like to learn new tricks and ways to do cases that I didn't know before. Also, I want to mention that I am thinking of starting to do some solve critiques because a few of you have asked me to do those in the comments. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the other YouTube cubers that have started series like that, such as JPerm. He has an excellent solve critique series on his channel. But I want to do a series of my own because I think that it's a really good way to spread cubing knowledge faster by having multiple people critique different people's solves and show different ways that they would solve particular cases. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about doing that series, but I'm going to try to figure that out soon, and so hopefully you all will enjoy those videos as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!